Now on to Sri Lanka. We are here in the capital, Colombo. The island nation is gearing up for elections, the first since the mass protests of 2022. A record 38 candidates are on the ballot, but only 3 really matter. That's current President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Centrist leader Sajith Premadasa, and Marxist candidate Anura Kumara Dissanayake. So it's a 3-party contest with no clear frontrunner yet. So who will be Sri Lanka's next president, and what will it mean for the country's future? Our next report tells you.
Colombo feels like it's back on track. The airport was buzzing with tourists. The roads were packed with cars. And for a change, no snaking lines at gas stations. No frenzy for fuel or food. Perhaps Sri Lanka has exorcised the ghosts of 2022. The main junctions are draped in colourful flags and posters. It's the unmistakable sign of what's around the corner: elections. Voting is scheduled to take place on Saturday, but today was the last day of campaigning. Many of the final rallies were organised in Colombo. It was the final pitch before the big day. There are 38 candidates in the fray, all of them men. But realistically, only these 3 have a chance. Ranil Wickremesinghe is the incumbent. He's part of Sri Lanka's old guard, a 6-time Prime Minister who is known as a free market proponent. Wickremesinghe wasn't elected by the people. He was chosen by members of parliament. When former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled, someone had to take over. Someone had to fix the mess. And that job fell upon Wickremesinghe. He's done a decent job so far. Negotiated a repayment deal with Colombo's main lenders, struck a bailout agreement with the IMF, and also brought down inflation from 70% to around 6% earlier this year. But problems remain. Many voters feel that Wickremesinghe's bitter pill was too bitter. The taxes and utility bills are too high.
Government should focus on the people's foods and education and medicine, and they are not focusing them. They are focusing tax-free vehicles and giving lakhs and lakhs of money for the rural development for the MPs.
Wickremesinghe leads the United National Party, but he's not contesting on their ticket. Instead, he's contesting as an independent. Why? We'll try to get an answer when we interview him tomorrow. But for now, candidate number 2, Sajith Premadasa. He leads the SJB party in Sri Lanka, and he's political royalty. His father was the 3rd president of the country. Ideologically, he's somewhere in the middle. Premadasa has talked about diluting the bitter pill. He wants rich people to shoulder more burdens.
There are burdens that have to be imposed, that the super rich and the rich have to disproportionately take a bigger share of the burden, rather than working men and women of Sri Lanka.
Premadasa has been a cabinet member. He's also been the leader of the opposition, but he's never been president. In 2019, he was defeated by Gotabaya Rajapaksa, so this election could be his chance at glory. The 3rd candidate is Anura Kumara Dissanayake, arguably the most controversial one. Dissanayake's party is the People's Liberation Front. It started off as a Marxist group, but very soon veered to violent Sinhalese nationalism. The PLF waged 2 insurrections in the 1970s and 1980s. Tens of thousands died in the bloodbath. But Dissanayake says that that's all in the past. He has positioned himself as a champion of the working class, a break from Colombo's ruling elite.
The people of our country have a great expectation for change. There are many people who took part in public protests who carry the aspirations of those protests. They wanted change, and we are the agents of that change. All the other candidates are the agents of the old, failed traditional system.
Abandoning bullets for ballots is good, but Dissanayake's past still haunts Sri Lanka's minorities, and his economic plan has many gaps. Dissanayake has promised to renegotiate the bailout deal with the IMF, but he doesn't say why the IMF would agree to it, or what leverage he has. A Rajapaksa is also in the fray. Namal Rajapaksa, the son of former Prime Minister Mahinda. Most experts agree that he will lose, but that's sort of the point here, testing out the political waters, seeing if the people will accept a Rajapaksa comeback. Stranger things have happened in politics, but 2022 is perhaps too fresh in people's memory. The long lines to buy food and fuel, the shortages at hospitals. It was the worst financial crisis in Sri Lanka's independent history. A crisis brought about by fiscal mismanagement. And that's when people said, enough is enough. Thousands poured onto the streets, demanding the president's ouster. From there to now, Sri Lanka has come a long way. The IMF says the country is making good progress, but it's not out of the woods yet. A lot will depend on who wins this election. If Wickremesinghe wins, expect policy continuity. If Premadasa wins, expect minor disruptions. And if Dissanayake wins, all bets are off. The bailout talks may get complicated. Voters here know that the stakes are high. Their decision will be based on multiple factors: the horror of 2022, the stability since then, and the cost of economic recovery.